I guess this all started with trying to find another area that was kind of remote enough and not accessible enough for other hunters, but still, would have good sized animals on it. So this was basically a scouting mission for, I guess, a local adventure hunt is what I would put it at. Trying at first with a canoe and finding out that canoe was not the vehicle that I should use because first of all it was tipsy and the waves are high, and then what happens if you kill an animal and you have to put it in the canoe and have to haul it back? You could end up losing everything, camera and bow and animal and everything else combined. So I traded in my canoe and I got myself a flat bottom John boat. And I don't like paddling either, so I also have a 2-horse motor. Well, it's kind of a trade-off. It is a lot of work. You have to load the boat up, take it, launch it, go down the river, 2 or 3 kilometers.
Wind's a little strong today.
A little 4 horsepower pushing right into the wind without any problem.
And then anchor the boat, and sometimes it's pretty nasty. The water's pretty nasty, and yeah, it takes a lot of work, and then you have to hike in, and so yeah, the whole ordeal takes a bit of work, but at the same time, it takes you away from the average person, and it moves you into an area where the animals aren't heavily hunted, so you have a better opportunity of taking a better animal. The island I hunt on, it has some openings in it, some kind of meadows, but generally it's pretty thick. There are a lot of willows and a lot of moisture, and the mosquitoes are horrible when you're there in the spring and the summer.
Oh, there it is.
Actually, I chose a group of trees, about 3 big trees together, so that when I was up in the stand, the other 2 trees would kind of camouflage me and my movement, and I would be less obvious up there. Once the leaves are gone, it's really hard to disguise yourself up there. I look like a big porcupine up there.
No, actually, it's a good place. You kind of hide behind. I might get a little higher. It's kind of cool because the tree that's in front kind of covers you up, if they don't see you.
What did you see on the trail cameras?
Well, I saw 2 really good deer. One with tall tines, and another one that was tall, and the points were crossing, and actually were crossing and were rubbing on each other. So I was hoping that those 2 deer were, either one of them would come in, that it'd be great because, they were 150 plus deer. But because it was calm and very little wind, sound was really carrying, and the deer were very, very cautious. Even the does that came in, they were very, very cautious. He turned and he looked towards the west, and I thought, well, you know what? There must be another deer coming. So I waited, and sure enough, another buck came, and this buck was good. Unfortunately, after he came in, my battery on my camera died, so I didn't get any footage of him. I tried to look and see whether I had another battery, a charged one in the bag. But again, here's one of those dilemmas where do you fool around trying to find the camera, battery, or let him go? And I wasn't sure whether the extra battery I had was good or not. The only film The footage I got was with my GoPro that's mounted on my camera. And so I opted to take the shot. Unfortunately, that's the only footage I have of shooting at the deer. And it really doesn't turn out that well. I can't hardly see the deer. I use nocturnal illuminated nocks, and they're very bright and they always work no matter what. And I saw that arrow hit exactly where I aimed.
When you shot the deer, was it getting pretty dark?
Yeah, it was getting real dark. And so I followed him in a ways, and I heard some noise, and there was blood. So I decided I would back out, and I left him, and I came back early the next morning. You know, I hate going on water at night too, because you know you can't see logs, you can't see things like that. But then I went back in the morning, and I picked up the trail real easy, and I did get the recovery on the camera then.
You know, this little 2-horse Honda that I have just purrs like a kitten. It sure beats paddling. Mike and I were paddling a canoe across here. Probably did it about a dozen times. And now with this flat-bottom John boat and my little 2-horse Honda, boy, it sure makes life a lot easier, that's for sure.
Just a fantastic morning. The water was like glass, and it was easy going across. And yeah, and I picked up the trail real quick. I knew where he went. Well, here I am on the island. I'm gonna try to find him. I doubt whether he went very far. Didn't find my arrow either, which means, and he was quartering away, so I'm suspecting that I got him and the arrow was still in his body. Just keep on this path for a little bit of another 20 meters. Oh, there he is. I found him. Well, I was quite surprised. I know he looked, you know, big enough to shoot when I shot him, but because I'd never seen him on camera before, when I approached him, I thought, wow, this is kind of a nice surprise, you know. He's a little bigger than I thought he would be. Nice beams, like heavy beams. Oh, look at the arrow. Look at the arrow. It went straight through him, and about 6 inches of the arrow is sticking out of him, right out of his chest. So it went straight in from behind, exactly where I shot. Yeah, right there. Oh yeah, there it is. Right there, right in front of the back hip, exactly where I aimed. Came out straight out the chest. I'll tell you, those Montec arrows heads and those Carbon Express arrows, they're just deadly. They're awesome. They're just like a field point. They're just no different. They just hit the same way. Oh, he's a nice deer. He looked really impressive, and the body was huge. Hello. Oh yeah, my son-in-law Mike called because he knew I was going to retrieve the deer, and I'd forgot I had the camera on. And the call came in, and I was talking to Mike, and then after I looked at the footage and got the whole conversation between myself and Mike on camera. That was kind of a surprise that I hadn't expected. He's a non-typical. He's 5x6. And he's not that big, tall 4x4 that I was after. But he's pretty darn big, Mike. He's got huge mass. So, yeah, and you know what? He was only about 30 meters from where I shot him. He was so big that actually I couldn't move him. To get him off there, I had to cut him in two. I had to cut him in two pieces after I dressed him out and put him on a trolley to get him out, because I couldn't move him whole. There was just no way I could move him.
I'm going to gut him out, and then I'm going to go to the boat and get the two-wheeler and bring it back here. But he's a monstrous deer. I don't think I can haul him on that, but if that's the case, I'll take him out in pieces. I think about, oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell. He's non-typical. 150, 160, somewhere in there. All right, I'll talk to you later, Mike. Okay, bye-bye.
Ultimately, the score was 146 and, you know, a few eighths or so after deduction. So yeah, it was big deer. Yeah, it was okay. Of course, my best and my favorite taxidermist, of course, is Owen from Round Table Taxidermy in Warman. So yeah, he did a shoulder mount for me, and I scored him up. I had him scored, and I've got him mounted on my wall, and maybe you'll see him later in this film. I suppose the best part of the hunt and the whole idea of the hunt is it's kind of an adventure hunt without having to leave the province or the country. Yeah, it's like a big adventure, and I really enjoy that. I don't care to be hunting in an area with a bunch of other hunters. This is an adventure hunt, and far, far more enjoyable than any other kind of hunting.